Thank you for staying with us. The federal government has appealed to citizens planning a nationwide protest to be calm, saying both President Bola Tinubu and his ministers are working to change the situation. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made the appeal after an emergency meeting of members of the Federal Executive Council called on Wednesday by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, at his office in Abuja. He assured that President Tinubu is working tirelessly and all hands are on deck to ensure that the government's efforts benefit all Nigerians. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress Governors Forum have also appealed to organizers of the planned protest to embrace roundtable dialogue as the administration of President Bola Tinubu is determined to ensure that the current economic challenges are resolved. Chairman of the forum, Governor Hope Uzodinma, briefed newsmen on the outcome of the 2 hours closed-door meeting of the APC Governors Forum. The meeting also discussed the improvement of the agricultural sector at the state level to tackle food security. Still on the planned protest, Thursday was a busy day for President Bola Tinubu, who met with the governors of the All Progressives Congress inside the presidential villa. The meeting highlighted the efforts made for the nationwide protest to be shelved and to ensure citizens give more time to government for the implementation of its policies. Now, the president also met with traditional rulers led by the Sultan of Sokoto and the Ooni of Ife in a closed-door meeting inside the council chambers. Ooni of Ife and some other monarchs spoke with State House correspondents after the meeting with the president as they appealed to the organizers of the protest to shelve plans. Also in attendance at the meeting were Vice President Kashim Shettima, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetukun.
Message we're taking back to our people is to be calm, to exercise patience, and also to listen to the words of wisdom coming from the traditional rulers, from the governors, because we have spoken to the president and he has given us the blueprint of what he has been doing over time, and we're hopeful, that inshallah it will be well.
Hearing from Mr. President directly, I can see the passion. But at the same time, I think the government is finally understanding we are at a precipice. Our youths are our future. But by God's grace, I think if you would give us the chance, this protest, I know that it's catching you very, very high in your neck. But if you give us the chance, let us not destroy our own country.
People that are out there to maybe protest, it's their right, civic right. But let them put a face to it, and don't let it be hijacked by people that has ulterior motive. That is our stand. We condemn such acts.
Well, joining us via Zoom from New York is security expert Dennis Amakri. Dennis, good morning. It's good to have you on the show.
Good morning, Veronique.
Now, if you look at the papers this morning, it's awash with this story about the protest and the response of the DSS, saying that they have uncovered some persons plotting extreme violence in the process of the protest, and that the end of it is to perhaps unseat the government in power as we speak. What concerns you the most with all of these narratives as a security expert?
Thank you very much for having me. Nigeria is at a very, very serious crossroads. And right now, I am happy that there is a concerted effort by the security agents to see that we come back to peace, because the way it is going, where some people are engineering anarchy. And with that kind of attitude, a lot of people are going to join in. You must have heard about Kenya and Kenya and Kenya. What is really happening in Kenya? There is anarchy in Kenya, whereby people are demonstrating, because of economic problems that they are facing, but they are destroying their country. They are destroying their country. And that is one line that we have to draw, because, yes, government is supposed to do what it has to do to make sure that everybody in the country have a good time, at least survive within reasonable means, live in their own country and be proud of it. But when somebody is saying, let's burn down the house so that we'll build another house later, I think we have to draw the line there and make sure that we expose those people who feel that they have to burn down the house that everybody lives, and then, of course, look for a way forward. I'm just very happy about one very important thing too, and that is the response by the president or the presidency, because I've gone through a lot of protests in Nigeria. There are processes where the leader does not even care about what's going on, where people go there and do whatever they want to do, burn down, close roads and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, the president or head of state does not care about what's going on. But I think we're having a president who is engaging. So let us see how we can work together on this.
So I believe those who may have been fueling the protests are probably drawing from what has happened in Kenya and the results that they have gotten at this time, especially when you look at the fact that it's also spreading to Uganda. They're also protesting on various issues affecting the polity. But let's talk about the fact that whenever people plan to protest, we have intelligence come out to say there is a plan to overthrow the government. Should there not be more focus on, ensuring that the protest is conducted non-violently, as against not even having the protest at all?
You are very, very correct. And that's how it happens in civilized climes, whereby people, the government also recognize the strength of protest. Remember, protest is a very important democratic system, protest itself, because it is through protests that citizens are allowed to exercise their civic responsibility, and it is only through protest they can also tell government that, look, this is what you're doing and we don't like it, and why we feel that you should put it better in a better way. So in fact, there are situations where government encourage protests, where, protests are done to check public opinion, how people feel about a particular legislation or any kind of thing that government is doing. They can engineer protests and see how popular it is, So protest is very, very important. But at the same time, in Nigeria, the way we have had it is where, because of maybe the poverty level and inability of law enforcement to contain, that particular situation, some hoodlums come in and then, of course, hijack the situation and then do whatever they want to do. You are right when you say security agents always come out and say somebody's going to hijack the thing, and then why don't you just go ahead and, in fact, deal with the hijackers so that people can protest? Yes, I think we should get there, We should get there. I'm in New York right now, and 2 days ago, we had the Prime Minister of Israel visiting the United States, and he was supposed to address the joint session of the American Congress. And when he came there were two types of protesters. One type were saying, save Israel, and they were all wearing the same kind of T-shirts, and they were all sitting down on the floor singing, and the police was around them, surrounding them, and then of course they were singing, clapping. By the time they finished, they stood up and left. And then there's another set of people that were outside, the Capitol, who were holding posters and calling Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, a murderer. And in fact, they brought an effigy of him and burnt it down, even with the American flag, which the policemen were watching them and looking at it and making sure that, they don't cross the limits of what they are supposed to cross. But in our own case, we'll have maybe by that time it gets to that burning, tear gas must have ringed out, and then, people will scatter running around. And of course, the hoodlums are waiting for that particular moment where everybody is helter-skelter, and they will break into shops, trying to loot, steal, and do all kinds of things.
But one would expect that we have had series of protests in this country, and that by now our security personnel would have understood, borrowing lessons from other climes, like you pointed out, how protests are managed, and to ensure that they don't give room for hoodlums to take advantage of whatever is going on. What would it take then for us to get to that point? Because we are a democracy and it is the right of the people to protest. But when we keep hearing these kinds of things, the people on the one hand are feeling that government is denying them of their rights, of their democratic rights. But then there is the need for a balance. How do we move, or how do we achieve this?
I agree totally. And I think we're working towards that. We're really working towards that. Before, when I was even in the service, we used to have spokesmen. We don't have spokesmen. Even the military, of course, I don't believe in, I'm not a full supporter of military taking part in internal security, because they are trained not to deal with the civic society. They are trained to kill. And usually when they go in there, look at the press conference that was held by the defense headquarters, it's a lot of threats, and if you come out, we're going to deal with you, maybe because the hoodlums, that's the language they understand, but we are getting there, whereby I think more conversation, more dialogue, more civic engagement, will open up where we can talk. And of course, in fact, let me take this time to credit the Minister of Information and National Orientation. Very, very exemplary guy. He's done very, very well, unlike former Minister of Information that we know. I think he's done very, very well. So I think this is the kind of thing we are moving. It's a continuum.
So how much more, I'm wondering how much more dialogue we'll need to get when the DSS says it has intelligence of persons who are plotting to, cause mayhem in this protest. Is it so difficult to go after them, arrest them, and perhaps, put them in public eye that these are the people that we have, pointed out as those ones who are plotting to cause mayhem in the course of this protest, so that the people will feel that they are safe, one, and they can go ahead and exercise their democratic rights at the end of the day, while calling on government to do what they feel is necessary at this point?
Very is it does not work exactly that way. Right. You know, it doesn't work that way whereby the DSS, yes, they've uncovered the names of the people who are. If I just uncover names, I can say, okay, one of the plotters of this protest is Veronique. That's just a name. You know, maybe there might be some other information supporting that you were planning or you are doing this or that. But you have to really catch them in the act. And to catch them in the act, they have to come to that protest. You know, they have to come to the protest and protest. And that's where you really catch them. But all the same, remember, this is a democracy. This is a democracy. And you see, these are the critical points where if the security agencies go there and then start dealing with people, you hear another uproar. You know, oh, they won't allow us to protest. They've been arresting us, you know, locking us up and this and that. So I think the security agencies, especially the police and the DSS, have to tread carefully and softly, you know, in making sure that they look at this situation, you know, critically. And by the time it is even going to happen, where they are going to move into action, it might be too late because the deed is already done. And when the deed is done, you know, and that is where, you know, they can make arrests and even prosecute people, you know. But like I said, it's a very critical landmine, and you have to be very careful in when you're dealing with stuff like this.
All right. So let's also, you know, talk about the dynamics of dialogue that you have mentioned that should be explored in this situation. What do you make of those who have mentioned that we should have a national town hall or constructive town hall meeting rather than just representatives who just, you know, go ahead and put themselves up front as representing these people? Let's not forget that this is a faceless or leaderless protest.
Yes, very, very important. You know, in fact, when I see the people coming out from the meeting, the governors and the traditional rulers, what was going through my mind was that I hope this is not just the end of this meeting, because what we saw there should generate a lot of other meetings, The governors should go down there. You see, I don't know one thing about this country where the governors think that everything that is happening is federal government problem, you know, and they don't, you know, they are not very, very interested, except when it comes to, you know, collecting federal allocation. You know, how many governors have come out to talk about this? You know, so we are, it's not a matter of addressing the governors forum. The governors should all be there, you know, and well, after this meeting, we expect that all the governors are going to go down to their local government chairmen, bring all of them together, talk to them, task them, give them tasks. These are what you guys are going to do. Go down to your locality, to the wards, to everywhere, and talk to people. That this is the position of government. This is what they showed us in Abuja, and they said this is what we, you know, they are doing. So you translate this message downwards and let everybody be aware. Traditional rulers should do the same. We want traditional rulers. We really want traditional rulers to be inculcated back in governance, because, you know, our history has shown that they are the ones that were running things before the colonialists came.
They were part of the conversation. The president met with some of them.
Exactly.
But the concern right now is if this is enough, this conversation, and even if we trickle it down to the local government level, if it is enough to really, you know, hold these people back from carrying out the protest, because what they are seeking right now is is a matter of the high cost of living to be addressed. A majority of them say they want food on their table, affordability of items. These are the major issues that they are looking at. Is holding a conversation enough to really hold them back and perhaps pacify them from carrying out this protest? Because from all you have said, it's seeming like you are saying it's better not for this protest to happen in the first place than for it to happen and then we see whatever the attendant impact at the end of the day.
You know, the protest, whether it happens or not, you know, like I told you earlier, protests are very, very important. You know, a healthy protest also shows a healthy democracy. A healthy protest shows a healthy democracy. Now, if there is a democratic government in place, and then, of course, there are people who are not happy about what is going on, because everybody feels it. Everybody, you know, including the people in government. When I say people in government, maybe civil service, I don't know. Maybe the police, even the DSS, you know, they all go to the same market and they are having the problems facing them in the face, you know. And the government came in and then they said they are going to handle this. They've stayed for 100 days. Many people have said, oh, 100 days maybe might not be too small to, you know, evaluate them. Okay. And at the same time, the government should be doing things whereby people should align with them, you know, identify with what government is doing. And I think that's another thing that government has to do. Because if we say that, okay, just call people, talk to them, and then tell them we are doing something, that does not cut it. It doesn't cut it at all. Because you are also, your attitude and your body language should also tell the public that, look, what we are doing is what. They went ahead to cut, the legislators went ahead and cut 50% of their salaries, you know, to show that, you know, they are in support and trying to help. But you see, that is an insult, because that is an area that is a very contentious area where people have been agitating. That's going to be part of the protest that they are protesting. That, hey, our legislators are having too much money while majority of Nigerians are suffering. And when they want to even cut, they cut their salary, which is about 2-point-something million. You cut it into half, 1-point-something million per senator. And then, but originally, they are taking home at least 35 million, you know, per month because of the benefits and all kinds of things they get. So, if that is what you are getting, and you want to show this country that, look, we are with you, we are working on this, you know, the president should, in fact, tell them that, look, cut away all the benefits. They should come out and say, no more benefits for this period that we are trying to solve this problem. Yes, no benefits for any legislator. Do you understand? People will understand that kind of thing. But when you say, oh, you are giving 50% and, you know, and meanwhile you are taking 30-something million home, you know, and then, of course, and there is one funny thing that happened yesterday in Lagos Airport where the airport was filled up. You know, the National Assembly is on recess. And the whole airport was filled up, and you know, from the last count, the person that was telling me can count up to about 5 legislators who are trying to travel out of the country. It doesn't show good faith. It doesn't show good faith, you know. So they are leaving the president to handle this while they are traveling, getting out of the country. You know, so we need good faith. We need people to show that, yeah, they love this country and they want everybody to join them in loving this country. You know, I think that's how the way it should go.
So where do you stand now, if I may ask directly, on this protest? Should it go on from your perspective, or it shouldn't?
There should be no protest, because the protest had been hijacked already. The protest had been hijacked already. The references they are using. No, Kenya, we want Kenya to happen here in Nigeria. See what is happening in Kenya. And what is happening in Kenya? People are looting and burning down houses and stuff like that. Shopping malls are being looted and stuff like that. Is that what they are planning to happen in Nigeria? So if that is the reference, if that is what they want to do, then we don't want it here. We don't want it in Nigeria. So, and I think on their own part, they have to hold it, because it has been, the protest has already been hijacked. People are already planning bad on what they will do.
All right.
And then on the part of government, I think that government should do more. Government should do more, and then try to make sure that they lead by example, show people. The president should come and address the country. Yes, we need the president to address the country honestly and tell the country that this is what is happening. Because, please, okay, we don't want to have what is happening in Kenya to happen here, because, it is when the problem has busted in Kenya that you see the president actually come out and started telling people that, he has fired one of his, he has done this, and, no, that is too late. That's too late. Right now, the president should come out, address his people, and tell them exactly what is going on. He's battling with a very serious problem that he did not create, and he should tell the people and then see how he can do it. We are beyond party now. This is governance time. So let us take our country to a better place.
Dennis Amakri, security expert, thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Right.